18, and it is time for the overranked community, nearly almost a playoff match. And I am your host tonight, Cajun Wise Guy. Along with me is Avalex. Go ahead and introduce yourself there, Avalex.
Hi there, everybody. It's a great day to watch some Overwatch.
Yes, it is. And tonight's two teams are going to be Prodigy versus TCP. And it looks like we're going to be starting out on Rialto. Now, you kind of did some observations a little bit before we kind of started our stream going here. And you saw the teams are a little bit different.
It's going to look really interesting. I'm actually want to see how these teams stack up. I mean, it's a little bit off, but not enough to where, I mean, obviously there's a huge difference between like solo queue versus the team meta. So, I mean, it's going to be really nice to see how these guys put it together.
Yeah, and Rialto, I like Rialto. It's full of a lot of flanking routes. Teams have a lot of options on what types of comps they want to run. And for me, always, and here we go, we're going to be jumping into this. Rolling, for me, the attack is always the interesting part. What route? Do you want to go aggressive? Do you want to just shove it down their face? Do you want to do a flanking route? What do you think is one of the more successful ways to attack Rialto here?
I mean, you absolutely have to go with the flanking route. And I mean, you can go to the main tanks across the bridge if you absolutely have to, like if that's your try-hard mode. But taking this bridge from a skilled like Orisa or something is a pain. So flanking is generally the best way to go. And depending on what you're running for your DPS, it's not hard to get to.
Oh, and it looks like the host had a little bit of a hiccup in the settings, so reset. But continue. I think they got everything reset there.
Oh yeah. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what route they take. If they all try to stuff everybody through, because I mean, obviously, depending on the team makeups, like the attackers can run stuff that'll make that little hallway that they could flank with to be a pain.
Yeah, and right now we're getting the teams are starting to fill in a little bit. Prodigy is going to be blue. They're going to be attacking here. I think they're going to be attacking here. They're opening with a Widow with Knight. They're going to be having Rush Pro on, looks like Farah, running, Zenyatta and Orisa. I don't know about Orisa on here. Maybe at higher levels it works, but I just find Orisa kind of kludgy in the attack phase.
Well, I mean, again, you're looking mainly at the bridges you got to get across immediately. So, I mean, anything that's going to kind of get them out of that area. And I want to say our red is attacking first. So you're looking at Mercy, Lucio, Farah, Doomfist. Doomfist is always the questionable, because if you run him well, he's obscene, and if you don't run him well, he's kind of a little
yeah. That's that is the pain and the wonder that is the Doomfist, and it looks like we're gonna do a little bit of a reset. Hey, third time's the charm.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm really interested on the bridge, especially with the Doomfist, because there's a lot of walls on this map as well. Like, it's not a whole lot of open. You're in the middle of a city, so he might be able to get a lot of work in.
Yeah, for attack, where for me Doomfist excels is right across the bridge. Right, you get into those little cluster buildings, those little rooms. The flanking routes, not so much, because you either dump into that large town square, and it's tough for him to operate in there, especially if you have any ranged heroes that can just kind of create some separation between him. But if your game plan is just, look, we're gonna play, punch it down the middle, nothing fancy, I think a Doomfist really can bring some value here. With his instant, it's the burst damage, right? That's why you're running Doomfist. You want to have that burst damage and that crowd control that he gets in there, kind of starts messing up, one of the squishies with the crowd control and is able to delete him and then get back out. So that's going to be one of the things we're going to be watching for here. if they
I'll tell
stick
you
to
what
Doomfist.
scares me is you're looking at both comps here, and they're both running the Widows and Pharah. And so that's going to be really interesting because there's going to be discords flying, of course, on like the Pharah, so the Widows get the easy picks.
Yeah, we're almost. Yeah, you're right here. It's so, you know,
and
we're
then
gonna.
you're gonna have the Mercy boost in the Widow as well, if she's not with the Pharah. So it's going to be really interesting to see exactly how this goes off.
And hopefully the server settings are now dialed in. We're 10 seconds to launch. Going to be opening it up here with Knight. See, like I said, I think both Widows have to play big here on this first stage.
Well, it looks like the defense is really set up to watch this hallway, so they're not really overly worried about the bridge. Oh, we got Pharah.
And Rush Pro right now is on that Pharah, trying to do some good damage on the main payload, but with TCP running pretty heavy shields, that's going to be a tall quarter. You have to play around the shields.
And Grimace grabs too. Or Grimy, sorry.
Grimy. Not sure if that's an old Simpsons reference, but nonetheless.
That's rough. Like, that's... And they allowed the Mercy to get the res off, which I'm really surprised about considering how much, like, burst damage they have going on.
Wow, Grimy is really doing the work here. Right now, Prodigy's got to come up with an answer for Grimy because he's single-handedly put everybody on his shoulders.
Not on the payload. They're allowing this payload to move.
Yeah, they didn't contest it too much, but
like that was really like they just kept getting pushed.
We've had a little bit of a swap up now. Rush Pro is off the Pharah onto Hanzo.
So you're going to be looking at wider streets here. The Hanzo and the Widow are going to take opposite angles here.
Yeah, because for me, the big thing, Prodigy has to start stabilizing. They need to draw that line in the sand to give their team a little bit of breathing room. And with Grimy putting so much pressure on the DPS, it's been super difficult here for the first stage. But second stage is anew here, and right now we've got...
not looking for the picks that he wants. Like, he's just getting a hard time dealing with it.
Yeah, he's going to have to swap out here, and indeed he does right now. In fact, he's going to Soldier.
Probably a better bet. Hopefully they're able to stop here for a minute and draw that line you were talking about, because it's just not happening.
But third stage rings anew for the team. So one of the things I'm seeing right now that I would say Prodigy is struggling with is maybe a little bit of their disengage. You know, they go down one or two, and it gets really messy. They're not able to draw back defensively and kind of buy time.
Well, you have to also think they're getting pushed pretty hard. Like they're not getting a lot. Like if they poke their head out anywhere, they're not getting a lot of peek room.
No, they are not. Right now, TCP continues to roll that cart unabated into the final stage.
Oh, I really wish that hammer would have grabbed something. That would have been nice to see. But it looks like Knight got a few picks. Oh, he's going to get... But, man, watching Grimy just clean up. They're having a really problem. They're not giving... They're just giving the Widow all the time she needs.
Yeah. So to fix that, you gotta have a stout front line. You gotta keep your Rhine up. He's letting his shield get broken. You know, and as soon as that shield is broken, man, Grimy's just going to town.
Oh wow! And I was really with that Graviton. I was really expecting a lot of follow-up, and it just wasn't there.
Well, the only person that could follow up was the Rhine, and as soon as the Rhine went down, that was it. You know. Yep, desperation.
Yeah, that's gonna end the first stage here, as far as or the first round on the first stage.
To 3, switching sides.
Man,
So-
they lost no time in getting that done.
No, 4 minutes. So Prodigy has a very tall order right now. They've got a big problem in Grimy, and Grimy opens up so many avenues. You know, he's getting picks. You're spectating him, and you're just hearing that constant headshot, dink, 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 and it opens up the entire team for TCP to advance. The payload and really kind of dominate these team fights. So,
I'm hoping Prodigy picks it up here on the attack. And then there's so many maps and games you see that do maybe attacking. This might just be an attacker's map. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully they kind of get it all together. Maybe they sighted their aim in a little better. So I'm really seeing if TCP just stops them here. There's not a lot to say. I mean, they cleaned them up.
Yeah. And we're going to be paying a little bit more attention. Like I said, Grimy so far has been doing a real big job. If Prodigy can knock Grimy out, then we're going to kind of see what TCP's front line is made of. And are they able to hold that line without having to rely on that constant Widow pick?
Well, one of the things that I've seen again is Prodigy going with the Widow, and maybe. I mean, again, it's. I think this map is definitely an attacker map, so maybe we'll see something happen.
So right now, pretty standard rollout here.
They're
Right across the bridge.
Over the bridge.
Yeah.
That's a rough spot to be, though. Grimy's just gonna have clear headshots like through the bridge. I think they're gonna have to go a flank.
Yeah, you're dealing with the Pharaoh boobs, or you need to break out the Lucio to close that distance, or you just gotta go YOLO. But right now,
one of the things on this map as well, like if you go on the other bridge, it's got railings. Like they're not going to be able to pull you off nearly as easy.
and indeed, left flank 4. Prodigy is they're working in there.
They're looking for the pick here, and I mean, luckily the Ryan's able to keep his shield up, but I don't know how long you can keep that up.
Well, it's all about the team fight. You know, people worry about the cart. No, worry about the team fight. Engage the team. You know, your reward is you go get your cart.
What I'm seeing here is they switched up. It's almost like Prodigy put themselves back into defensive.
Yeah, and I think this was a great move for them. Right now, the Zarya for random is doing a good job here. Healers need to keep up that Zarya.
What's good here is Prodigy does have the respawn advantage as well, so although I'm not sure I agree with Rush being out before his team, that looks like an easy spot to get picked if you're not careful.
Right. I was a little concerned, you know, when you have the Widow pushing your cart. Things are not going according to plan.
And I mean, also, Knight just popped Vision, so I mean...
But Grimy responds with...
killing people? He
Nice.
seems to be pretty well at that.
A little delayed follow-up on that grab kind of cost him. So we've got TCP holding pretty strong right now in the courtyard, rolling down to 1 minute here, 15 seconds. You're almost getting into what I call smoke 'em if you got 'em stage. You've got the ults that you're going to bring to the dance, and you just have got to use them. You're not going to have a choice. The engagements have to be clean.
The boots on the Rhine, I mean, it's just... Diaper is just pushing this Rhine off every chance like she gets.
Right.
The Rhine cannot go across that bridge again.
Or he has to charge across.
Oh, he tries. Yeah, but that's a waste of a resource, though. That's questionable.
You know, it's either that or, yeah.
But again,
Less
I mean,
than
they're gonna
ideal.
have to go in heavy here. I'm really looking for the Zen to get a lot of production here with his ult.
We've got Diaper really going to town. He does have that pocket barrage. I'm expecting him on TCP side here. But so
I
far,
would imagine he's gonna hold it just for. I mean, you don't absolutely need it now. Oh, especially with Grimy picking off too. Yeah, there.
yeah, solid hold there.
Man, and we're still watching Kanala to use that ult there just as a mobility. Like, I would have liked to seen that pop last fight, but such as how the cards fall, I guess.
Right.
Play of the game.
You know, this player of the game comes as no surprise. You know, we identified Grimy early on as being kind of the damage dealer for TCP here.
Man, and that looks rough. There's not a lot you could do. She was inside that building using the walls. Like, you had to go to her. And if she peeked around a corner, she pretty much had you in her sights.
Yeah, you know, and what can you do with you're facing a Widow of that caliber? You almost have to go to dive. You really have to.
You really do, because even though they had the Rhine shield, the Widow was good enough to take angles that if you moved that Rhine shield an inch to the left, you lost the player. So, it's really, I mean, yeah, I think Winston or D.Va is going to have to be your choice there, or run a really flanky DPS that can get up on top of her without her knowing it.
Right, because we saw Knight. Knight played Widow trying to, you know, equalize that playing field, but that was not going in his favor. You know.
Yeah, and I think there's got to be a where do we draw the line into where a certain character, when you are going up against a matchup like that, to where, okay, what can we do better? And if it's not working, where do we trade in for what our next strat's going to be?
Yeah. So looks like we're going to be going to Anubis. It's going to be the next map here.
Man, it's going to be a field day for Widows.
Oh, as soon as I saw that map, I was like, the pain does not end. It doesn't here. You know, for TCP, I'm not recommending any changes. They just roll with what you got. Until Prodigy can kind of force you to change your hand, there's really no need to do anything. Just stand pat. Let Grimy...
I don't know. I think I might... I think if I was TCP, especially like on defense, there are some changes that they can make, because Anubis is a lot less flank heavy.
Yeah.
The options of routing is a little bit more slim pickings.
But for Anubis, you could run the same comp. We could have Diaper back on
absolutely.
Pharah. You know, we could be, you know, running somewhat the same. I think Brian was on Zen and doing a good job there. So for the most part, TCP is just they're set. And let's see, they're asking us if we're ready. Of course we're ready. We are continually rolling live.
At the beginning, Cajun, it's all about watching TCP. When we were talking about like the ranks, there is a team to watch, because if something's going to happen, it's going to involve them in a big way.
Right.
Now entering the temple of
And here we go, back to Anubis. The Desert Kingdom.
We're in the desert.
Though me and you living in the south, last few weeks have been a little stressful in the heat index.
Maybe that must be where you are. It has been non-stop rain here. I might as well be in a rainforest.
Yeah, that's like,
every single day it's been rain.
you know, for myself, I'm South Louisiana, right on the edge of the swamps.
Well, I'm South Georgia. We have some swamps, but most of it's just flat lands with pine trees. So they are going to go, assuming they don't change, Grimy is going to go on the Widow again.
I'll enjoy the quiet while
Not a surprise. Brian's back on Zen. We've got... it looks like Diapers.
Grimy switched to a Doomfist. Here's the thing. you're going with less flank routes. I definitely see it can work.
Right, and we've got Anarchy
Incoming.
is going to be picking up the Widow role over on Prodigy's side. And they do have the Diva, and I believe they were running the Diva before, just it wasn't as successful as they wanted it to be. So, running a Orisa as your main stable tentpole tank
And I mean,
there.
it's kind of odd because they're not running any brawlers.
5,
No, they're not.
For defense. So I mean, once
1.
TCP is able to get in, if
Yeah.
they can get in.
They've got that hard candy shell, but you're right. You know, once they get through that hard shell, there's not a lot in you know, up close and personal.
Oh, and you got Grimy back on the Widow. Goes, man, trying to keep track of Grimy is a job. Oh, they're gonna go for the high ground, and that transition looks clean. Prodigy is going to have a hard time here.
Yeah, right now TCP is all set up.
Now,
Yeah, this is real.
Prodigy was able to get the res, so they're not too far down. But
Yep.
here's where that brawling comes into play.
Yes. You know, you can't send the Diva up there because she'll be demeched. You just have to kind of hunker down and wait for them to come. But right now, I'm seeing Prodigy really kind of split up.
And you got, man, they got Grimy back up on high ground just going into Prodigy. And even though it was the jump cleaning up, like, you have to keep an eye on their DPS.
I would say an easy cap here for TCP. But that was a solid move for them. They come in, you know, they just kind of bounce off that shell of Prodigy, that hard shell that we were talking about, and just said, well, you know what, we're just going to go around that. We're going to go take the high ground from you and force you into a 360 fight where you really don't know which direction we're going to come from. And, yeah, worked very well.
You know what? I figured we're in the desert. I figured the candy just melted. That's about, because again, it's they walked in. They had a really nice engage where each team took out one, and then it went like nothing was wrong.
Inbound
And
tire here.
TCP is
Nice.
again they're in that brawl range. And Prodigy does not have anything to answer for brawling.
Nice block of the shatter there on Fields admin. Right now, Ryan's doing a good job here. Had a shatter block. That was unfortunate.
Now here's where we're gonna start trading out players.
Yeah, and we haven't. Yeah, at this point, Prodigy just needs to play big. They just need to play big. Nope.
Getting caught off point with the grab feels bad, man.
Yeah. Well, it went back to the Rhine missed. It was critical. It's one of those moments where it's absolutely critical. And he was on point. He had everybody there, and he mistimed his shatter, and it got blocked. Had that shatter gone through, Prodigy would have held that entire point. And now, I'm not saying that TCP wouldn't have gotten it on a subsequent push, but that push would have been done. And you would be looking at, I mean, we're looking at 5 minutes and 15 seconds. That's a heap of time.
It is very healthy, and apparently they brought some water with them because they didn't look like they were giving up anytime soon.
No, they did not. There's no parched attack there.
So what I'm really wanting to see now is I really want Prodigy to bring in the brawl, and it looks like they might just do that, especially with the Brig running with the Rhine and giving the Rhine speed boost from the Lucio. And that's what I'm hoping to see, because I think that's what really kind of did them in. Once they were inside, or once TCP got inside their area, TCP just did not have enough answer it. Or
Right.
Prodigy didn't have enough. It's been a long day.
That's all right. Again, this is the overranked community. Prodigy versus TCP. TCP is currently up in this match right now, 1-0.
Beside you.
And that was on Rialto.
5, 4,
Here we
It
go.
looks like we got Diaper on jump. This is going to be really nice to see because he's got the shield there. Of course, they got the Zarya as well.
And with a damage boosted Grimy, you gotta keep your head on a swivel. They're trying to push in.
The only thing I see that really worries me about Prodigy at this point is they have no range. Like, they are all brawl. They go from all range to all brawl.
Yeah. But they're holding right now. At least the glimmer of hope for Prodigy.
I mean, it absolutely is a glimmer. TCP is doing their job in healing. I tell you what, there is damage across the board, and Diaper just found his glorious tire.
Yep. And that, you know, that was a big tire, right? Because Prodigy was on the verge of catching that point. They were on the verge of being to, you know, move forward, and that tire just shut him down.
And I think Prodigy made the right switches here. Of course, they went for the range, and actually they went with dive. They got off the Rhine, so they are going dive hard. So hopefully they're able to find something here. And of course, Grimy just finds ahead.
Yeah, if they can properly execute dive, you know, if they can have the Monkey lead in, have the Winston lead in, have the Diva follow, and commit to that, but it's proving to be easier said than done right now. And with Anarchy, again, sticking with the Widow, you know, if you can get Grimy out of play, it really, you know, let's be honest, it probably opens up a lot of options for Prodigy, because Grimy's just staying in the fight. There you go, big opening. There he is, solid.
Here's the thing. Now they get to dump all those ults, and that's exactly what
they're
do.
doing. Yeah.
It's they had more than enough ults in reserve, and you take out the key player, and they knew it. Like they knew once Grimy dropped that they had to kind of buy time to get her back.
Wow. Yeah. It was hilarious. You see that it was Widow's down, go in, and let's all eat a tire. It was almost a scripted recipe.
Well, and they didn't overcommit in the ult. And as you can see, like, TCP still has quite a bit of ults in pocket.
Yes, they do. Right now, Archive, which is running Mercy duties today. Give her some camera time. You know, still sitting there with Valk right now. Diaper's already at nearly 50%. We've got Zen at Transcendence. Even got a Shatter there, so you know, they got a lot of options. TCP has a lot of options here to burn another 30 seconds off the clock and walk away with the W.
Prodigy has to pop these ults now. Like, there's no way to get through it. You have to pop it and go.
We got to have Velk going. Yep, there we go. Counter Velk right now.
Letting that Mercy raise. I would have loved to see Defiance pop the Air the Mercy. I really would have.
Grab comes out. Not too productive, but it doesn't need to be productive. There was really no Prodigy on the point there.
Oh, and the tire gets taken out as well.
But TCP is still real strong on point.
Yeah, and they get the respawn advantage, but they have to be able to, I mean, no, I was hoping Prodigy would be able to come back with a respawn advantage, but trying to kill anybody was just taking their time.
Right. You know, TCP...
I did like the Grimy switch to the Tracer there at the end to get back to point.
And this was a great tire. You know.
Oh, this was.
Yeah, we saw this. Look at the kill feed. Anarchy kills Grimy. Grimy launches, or Diaper launches tire.
Well, what I wonder if that would have been the answer, even if Grimy had not went down.
Yeah.
Like, was that something that was already being discussed?
Right.
And I mean, I would have to think it was, because again, that wasn't a panic ult at all. They didn't use any other ults outside of the two they needed. So, I mean, it was very clean.
It was very clean. And but now they're I'm trying to read the rules here for the league, and I'm thinking that this is not a best of 3 scenario. I think this is a fixed map layout.
So point would be what you're probably looking at is.
Right. Teams will play 4 maps minimum. 5th map in case of a tie. So, we have 2 more to go. Apologize on my camera mess up there, but
Looks like it might be Ilios for our next map. That should
yes.
be. And maybe we'll get Grimy on something other than Widow. Ooh, except for Ruins. Oh man, it's just not Prodigy's day.
Yeah, they're walking into strong Widow map after strong Widow map here. And yeah. But they hit on it late, which is you got to go dive. You have to increase the speed of your game to at least make the shots more difficult for the Widow. If you're in view less time, if you're moving faster, the shot difficulty goes up.
Throws off your tracking as well.
Shows off your tracking, right? At the end of the day, it increases the degree of difficulty. When the degree of difficulty increases, the shot percentage goes down. When the shot percentage goes down, you have survivability. So, since they can't match up skill-wise, Prodigy is not matching up skill-wise. In other words, throwing, other than, if you throw enough shots at her, yeah, maybe you can take their Widow down. But for the most part, you don't have a good, reliable counter. You're really not diving her. You're really not putting a lot of pressure on her. You're not running Death Ball. So I think for Prodigy, one of the few cards in their deck that they can run here is they either could run a Lucio to increase the speed, or they gotta run dive.
I wouldn't mind seeing a brawl dive comp, or not a brawl dive, a dive a brawl Death Ball with a Lucio, and maybe get back with the Brig as well to give them some brawling potential.
Right.
Get on point, start swinging, because TCP has been running ranged.
Yeah, they're entirely, they've got the Zen in range, they've got the Widow on range. Diaper's kind of going between Junk and Farah, arguably ranged there. And they're just settling in. They don't really have to worry so much about the brawl comp, because they can just mitigate and delete Prodigy's most of their players before they can even get to that range.
Right. TCP definitely has the understanding that the point isn't the goal, especially if you're on defense. It's get the kills out of the way and then just walk onto point.
It looks like we're having a little bit of a roster change up here, at least on Prodigy side. So, gonna see here if they've got a couple minute break here, but it gives us a chance to kind of go more in detail. Again, this is the overranked community, where we're seeing Prodigy versus TCP. I am your caster tonight, or cameraman. All camera faux pas you can blame on me, Cajun Wise Guy. Co-partner tonight is Avalix.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pleasure to be here. I really want to see some brawls. Like, don't get me wrong, Grimy on Widow has been pretty much taking it the entire night, but I would love to see both teams brawl out.
Right.
I want things to get messy.
But I don't think we're going to see that here.
Oh, probably not. I mean, and if your Widow is popping headshots, there's no reason to, especially, I mean, Ruins. I mean, they might not do it just to be cheeky, but I do not anticipate it going nuts.
Yeah, and we do see the comp being configured right now. Really no surprise here. A little bit if Valor is going to run the Sombra, that would be wonderful. I don't know if he's going to stick with that. You know, they're still in spawn rooms. Nope, I've seen him switch right now. So
I do like the diaper on
3,
Reaper.
2,
Reaper
Yes.
for any of the King of the Hills where there's a small point is going to be hunky dory. Unfortunately, Phil Badsman's going to go up against him pretty hard.
yeah, that's gonna. But they are running pure dive. You know, well, dive-ish, dive enough.
I mean, you got to get on that Widow before the Widow sets her sights in.
But they're all looking. They're maneuvering around on the outside right now.
Oh, they are looking strictly for the Widow, and they get it.
Yeah, no, that was great. Anarchy, solid shot there. Now it's time to get to the point.
We get that brawl I wanted.
And just like that, I think Prodigy has a good, solid first point there. Yeah, and we theorized about this. How was TCP going to react when Grimy was being countered hard? And I
Are
think
they
we're
going to take the risk and get that raise? Yes, they are.
That is a brave res.
Anything against... And Grimy is down again.
Yeah, Knight's doing a great job there.
They have discovered their win condition, as it were.
But right now, Prodigy's back up against the wall there.
You got Diaper in the point cell. It's, again, you got to step up against a Reaper, and it's not his day.
No, you do not want to see a Reaper versus Winston matchup. So TCP back in, putting some percentage on the board. 44% that you know, Prodigy was able to lock away. Not a bad first push, but you know, if they could have gotten that up to 65%, I think they would have been in a much better spot. Right now, you're at least a couple of team fights.
Well, I mean, it's evolving. Like they were really set in. Now the thing is how do you get to the point without triple, especially against a character like Grimy.
Yeah, and the ult economy is very much in favor of TCP right now. We've got Grab that's up, and, you know, Death Blossom, Shatter's up. You're going to have Trance here in about 10 seconds. Versus Prodigy, you have Val.
Hey, watching contenders.
You know, you've got not much else to kind of work with for TCP right now. So I'm just waiting for this Grab to come in, be able to contribute here. So they're just looking, they're waiting, they're just waiting. They just need to have a good follow-up on it.
And we have the Genji in the middle of the match. And of course, first target goes Grimy. Grimy's down. And the Winston bubble saves from the hammer. That's about as clean as it gets.
Yeah, it does. Knight is really doing a great job. A great opening ult. Was able to get in there, make some key picks, and here I thought TCP was really going to do a grab. I thought that they were setting up for a grab. I didn't know why they were waiting on it so long. I thought it was just they just couldn't follow up on it, and that time gave Prodigy a real chance to, you know, to kind of take over the point. Now they're taking it up. Right now, 65%. Knight hunting for Grimy.
Well, you have to think TCP has the ult. They're within range to, if they win a team fight there, this point is more or less done.
Well,
So, I mean, they're within range to pop all their ults, clean up, and go home, but they have to be able to make that play, and it's got to happen soon.
Yeah, it's so close. Usually you want to see 85%, and they're at 82%. A lot of ults, not a lot in the kill feed. Wow, that was a brave res there. Nonetheless,
Yeah, definitely not something you want to see, but again, it's exactly what we predicted. A main fight going on, a whole bunch of ults going off. Like Diaper didn't get the production he wanted out of Blossom, but he was in the middle of a Zen ult.
yeah, now it comes down to...
Well, Knight's got an ult. Knight can ult here and do damage. We just got to see it happen, and happen quickly.
Ah! Able to get the big guy down. Took a lot of slashes.
Oh, that is not what you want to see. Very nice cleanup by Prodigy.
Wow.
And they take it to the wire.
They do. Great turnaround here. You know, looking at Rialto, looking at Anubis, which was pretty much all TCP all the time, to have Prodigy come back and not only take a point, but somewhat shut down the key player for TCP, which was Grimy. And that just, they've got to be feeling good about themselves right now.
Oh, absolutely. The Widow for Prodigy was actually getting a lot of help from the Genji, and Genji holding his ult there until the last minute really solidified their control of that point.
So now their knight is off to Farah
There are
land.
no Widows.
There are no widows, indeed. Grimy is on Kree, so
If I didn't know better, I would say they know what each other is playing. They're doing a lot of mirror comps, but then again, it is the meta. So you just kind of run and go. Ooh, Valor into the well.
Rando Mark is doing a good pressure with the hog off to the right side right now. So close to taking it. And Prodigy, indeed, starts to rack up the percentage. So now, I hate to end, but TCP, the shoe's now on the other foot. What does TCP need to do to start affecting the success that Prodigy has now found?
I mean, you obviously you have to figure out how to deal with the core components. If looking at it, like, I would be thinking about that Reaper again, especially going up against the Orisa and the Roadhog.
And we've got Diaper on Farah, trying to push in right now. Point is controlled by Prodigy at 40%.
Both hogs are in the well.
Yeah. Valk is out though for Yancey. So yeah, if Prodigy can rack this up to, 65, 70%, they're gonna be well positioned here to take this map. But when your Orisa goes into the well, that does reduce your chances.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's just holding the point to rack up time. Man, I tell you what, I would not want to run a Farah against Grimy at all.
No.
Because he is just, hit scan is just knocking people out.
So, TCP now in control, but Prodigy got to 70%. That is outside. It's right.
Better than what they did last round. So I'm really interested to see what they hold, what they got. TCP does have the ult advantage.
And we've got Anarchy now onto McCree. And he's doing a great job, just kind of working there. Got, we haven't said enough really about the Prodigy Orisa player, which is feels bad. He has been on Winston and was critical even running against the Reaper, and here he is on this map doing a lot of nice halts that are pulling key members of TCP right into the well. Really doing a strong environmental kill here for feels bad. So for me, he's
a contender for sure.
Yeah, he's really opening up space. We always say, what is space? He's buying Prodigy time, and right now that time is at 85, 86%.
I would like to see a combo between the Orisa and the Roadhog. You want to see that hook, the grab hook, right?
Yeah, and speaking of that, we've got Knight with Barrage, but there it goes, taking out both.
Oh, that's just nasty. I think that's going to be Prodigy with point.
Indeed.
But at least it's going back and forth. Like, I don't know what Prodigy did after those two maps, but I would have loved to have been in those comm channels.
Right. So I guess they're playing. Okay, so it looks like the host. Okay, yeah, I was a little confused myself. I was thinking that
this would be old competitive rules.
Well, yes, this would be old competitive. So Prodigy walks away with the win here. They're gonna fix it a little bit here by the host, so no problem there. And indeed, we have ourselves a match. Now we are on the overranked community, and you're playing 4 fixed maps. All right. If both teams are tied, each map counts as a point. If you're tied, you go to a 5th one. And so right now, TCP is up 2-1. And first map, Rialto, let's just face it, TCP pretty much had an easy win there. They dominated on multiple aspects. And then we went to Anubis, which for the most part was same song and dance. TCP dominated many aspects, primarily led by Grimey's Widow. And then now we get into,
Ilios was a sweep. Like,
yeah,
Prodigy got it together, but it did go exactly like what we needed to see there. It was a whole bunch of brawls. It wasn't the long range.
Right. They went dive, they targeted, they focused, and by getting Grimey out of play, or at least upset as far as off the Widow, it really gave Prodigy a lot of opportunities to brawl it out with TCP and walk away with the win here. So, they found their formula for success, and they're going to have to stick with it.
And, I mean, it looks like we're going into Hollywood. So, I mean, as far as line of sights go, I mean, this might be another same song and dance.
Yes.
But if we're lucky, I mean, we're in the Old West, so maybe we'll see a bar fight or two.
And we've got both teams kind of filling in right now. First point, Hollywood. I would say for Prodigy, you just want to stick with dive. You're going to get into TCP's backline, and we see Grimey. I don't know if he's going to stick with it, because he has been so DPS oriented. But we see
he's been very hit scan. Like, that's been his bread and butter. So
and now you go to. We see a bunch of little change-ups here on the TCP side.
They're just messing with us. We'll they'll dial it in here in a second, I'm sure.
Gives me a chance to take a drink of my adult libation.
No, I don't believe in that nonsense.
Yes.
Anyway. But no, it looks like it does look like Prodigy is dialed in for what they want. And it's, I mean, they're not very raw per se, but they're definitely not bad. And Grimy is going to stick off of, they're running 3 healers, 3 tanks. This actually could do a lot of work. I'm really interested in this. So this is one of the current metas that are, I don't want to say necessarily easier to run, but and the Lucio is getting them on the point, and they are going to brawl here.
This is as brawly as it gets. In fact, we're gonna take a little overhead view of this. It gets a little too messy on point, but yeah, you've got a soldier up on high ground. All right, now both teams are kind of breaking even. Advantage Prodigy. They can get one more. Yeah, Knight goes down, unfortunately, in the backfield.
Mercy's on point with the reses, though.
Gonna be up the random dark.
And it looks like healing gave out for Prodigy, so TCP looks like it's going to be able to take that one.
Yes. You know, I thought Prodigy was going to be able to hold it, but you know, with Knight going down.
And TCP has a DC, so I'm looking for the pause here.
Yeah.
With whatever random noises happen to be on.
That's okay, audience. We'll go ahead and crank that sound down a little bit. We don't want to annoy. Okay, so I liked what TCP did. You know, they came in. They came into the point. They're much more brawl, but they're very disciplined about it. Because
well, what they were really looking for is what they actually really needed there is they needed a quick pick, right? Get the quick pick, hopefully somewhere close to point, so they wouldn't have to go chase it down when Mercy tried to res. And there was some trading back and forth, but unfortunately, TCP started popping ults, and there's not a lot you can do there.
And one of the, you know, I thought Prodigy was winning that team fight to a degree, you know, until Knight went down, which was a big part of, you know, he was playing Hanzo, he's a big part of their DPS production. And Prodigy could not secure what they needed to secure one more kill. And you saw the Rhine on Prodigy's side, Feels Bad, was kind of reaching for it. And if anything, maybe that he kind of overextended trying to get that that little bit of a pick to save the point. But back into it now. As TCP advances the cart, Prodigy working with they do have a grab to work with right here. And they do, they got the classic, wombo combo. And they're going to need to pop it here early because they've got there we go. Great.
Right, and that's gonna be a stop there. So they'll be able to reset. But that puts TCP ahead in the old economy. So we get to see what this next fight looks like. In fact, they might just return the favor. There might be a grab with the Diva Bomb.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we're gonna have a reverse grab here. There it is. There it is.
They might have burned one too many there. That's actually, but nice, Grimy. And they're just going to leave the Mercy on the cart to hold while they push forward. Yeah, I mean, when you have both teams throw their ults to make something happen, I'm not sure I agree with the hammer down with the grab. Like, I think they might have been able to save it, but, I mean, if it gets the job done.
Right. If ultimately, you're investing in that fight, that you can, you invest. Well, your payoff is you get to advance the cart. I think Prodigy probably overcommitted, if anything.
I actually really wonder on TCP's part if they plan to lead with the hammer down, and when they seen that it didn't nail what it needed to, they decided to go with the grab from there. And if that was the plan all along, it was freaking brilliant.
Yeah, I was watching the Zarya, I was watching Valor, and, you know, just the classic Zarya, right? Super aggressive, running through the shield, you know, just diving into the back line to throw that grab. So I think the plan from the get-go was to have the grab go through.
And Swagger just made a very classic mistake of you're fighting an entire team as Ryan, and as your team dies at the very last second, you hammer down. He got almost the entirety of TCP in that hammer down, or he got the entirety of. I'm getting my teams confused. Holy. But
yeah,
now we're gonna see this go
we're
back
rank
in.
amateurs. That's okay.
Absolutely, for sure.
Right now,
And TCP is cleaning up.
well,
Prodigy.
No, Prodigy. Prodigy's holding strong here. You know, they are burning time off the clock. You know, you've got, we've got, what do we got to work with here? You've got Trance. You've got Blade. You've got Big Monkey. You know, Valk should be online probably in this next team fight.
Is there a small monkey?
Well, probably not, but you know.
But ultimately here we got Grimy back on the Widow.
So what is TCP going to be going for? They're going to be going for the Wombo combo. And sure enough, Valor, Ryan, through the building. Yep, here it is. Here it is. Where's that grab? Where's that grab? There it is.
I'm not sure Knight had the best ult there, but maybe they can turn it around. If Knight can get the kills he needs, and they're just literally trying to knock anyone away from that cart, and it's not going to happen.
Nope. Second stage, TCP. But that wasn't a bad fight for Prodigy, I would say. It just didn't, you know, a couple of things didn't go their way. But
I'm not sure I would want to go Widow v Widow against Grimy, because that's kind of scary. Although they did just find the Zen. So I mean, the res is down for another 30 seconds.
Yeah, and if that's enough to kind of just, oh, nice pick there. I think Anarchy's kind of settled into his own now.
Absolutely. I mean, he's definitely getting some of those picks, although Phil's Batman goes down to the other line. But, I mean, the Zins are finding their discords, and both teams are doing a really good job of, like, picking those back up.
I can't agree with that Diva ult, other than just a remake.
It was kind of wonky, but I'm not sure how many Diva ults, like, I can understand if she would have left it on the ground and remixed instantly, but that one was up in the air, so, I mean, you're putting yourself at a lot of risk there.
We've got Knight trying to pressure Grimy. Unfortunately, with 10 health, you don't have a lot of options. Oh.
I think this might be Prodigy going down here. Knight does have, if they can clean up the... he's not going to make it in time. I would have loved to see Knight just pop his head out and then ult, but maybe next round.
Oh, TCP all the way through, 53 seconds left on the clock. So, you know, I mean, yeah, TCP did get it to third stage, but hats off to Prodigy. You know, they were able... You know, that first stage...
They stepped up in a big way.
Big way. And made some adjustments. You know, Knight was doing some great kills. I mean, really across the board. I think for me, Anarchy was probably really the unsung hero in a lot of those engagements.
Let's get moving.
It is really interesting to see the different kind of teams, because watching TCP, a lot of the credits going to, like, Grimy, but it looks like Prodigy is a little bit more spread out. Like, the load bearing's a little different.
Yeah.
And now we have Grimy on Hanzo. Is there anything he doesn't play?
He tends to specialize in the DPS side of the spectrum. But we've got Diaper on Pharah, Valor, as always on Zarya,
Attackers
Swag on
incoming
Ryan,
in
Brian
30
on Zen.
seconds.
I'm not sure how I feel about Prodigy going with the 3-tank comp, the 3-3. And I have to wonder if TCP is going to expect it.
You know, you're running Brig, you're running Ryan. This is, you know, you want to close the distance with Zen, and you just want to get on point, right? You just want to get on point, and you let Brig do all of the work.
Yeah, but they got nothing for Diaper, and he is just going to be able to rain death from above.
Yeah, he's going to be able to put in a ton of work here.
Although it looks like Prodigy's going to draw first blood, so I mean, they might be able to clean up, and man, it is a back and forth.
It is very back and forth right now. Diaper down to 6 health. Finally goes down. Prodigy.
Feels bad, man. Comes out of nowhere to deal with a mercy res.
So solid
And
for
Kanala coming in.
Prodigy.
Absolutely. I mean, it was, in fact, I want to say that might have been cleaner than TCP's run-in. They had a pick right off the bat.
Second stage.
Man, I still think Diaper's going to be really hard to deal with the 3-3 comp.
Yeah, he is. He's going to be pocketed. Barrage is up right now. And you've got the Hanzo to back him up with, you know, with Grimy, so...
If you're Prodigy, you really want to, like, stick to kind of like the buildings. They're going to be your bread and butter. Being out in that roadway is not going to be
your
fun
friend
for you.
And it's not. Right now we're seeing that it's just not.
Oh, this barrage is about to hurt. Oh, they decide to go with other ults. And this is where you just hold your ults here if you're...
Yeah, you just gotta come back.
Prodigy.
You come back. Not much you can do. You can't punish the Pharah. Back to spawn it is. So, okay, you're running up against a Pharah, and really your counter is Diva. That's it. You, as you said, you gotta have speed. You gotta be in the buildings. There it goes.
And what was nice, she only got one, so I mean that was fairly clean. And they, man, this is a mess. It takes a second to get it all like in thoughts. Like they're just ult everywhere, and Grimy does find the Moira.
Almost. I mean, both teams are really trading off here,
It's
but
really hard to like even to keep track because it's chaos. It is organized chaos. Oh, and there goes the grab, and that's going to be Prodigy just cleaning it up.
except they're not.
Except Ryan came in from the red, like from spawn. Ooh, I don't know if I agree with the Zarya or the Moira ult there.
Well, it kept up Knight, who's on Zarya, and he's fully charged. So it's not a bad call.
They got to be putting a lot of damage into that door, and they need at least one on the payload.
Yeah, you got to get up. You got to get your team up there. Let the Zen babysit the cart, or you're not running a Zen. You let some range character, the Widow, babysit the cart.
Now they are not going to have. Oh, they switched off to Zarya. They don't have to grab anyway. Grimy does find the Widow.
And again, we're back into slightly organized chaos, but going TCP's way right now. Yeah, 5v3.
And if you're a Prodigy, you do not want to get stopped here. This is not where you want that card to be.
No. You wanted that last fight pretty badly. So, reset. Prodigy's going to have to then walk the long gauntlet of fire to get to the cart.
But Prodigy is running the 2 dive tanks, so I mean, mobility is high. And now they know where everyone is, so maybe they can pull something off here. You see them dive the Diva, and of course Valor decided to get away there. And it looks like they're about to square off.
We have the grab. The grab is up for Knight.
You're gonna have to use it preemptively as well. I mean, because TCP has a ton of volts going into this engagement.
There it is.
There it is.
Not much follow-up. No.
Both Divas blow their ults, and it looks like TCP comes out on top.
All right, you're walking into the last minute. You don't have a lot. Mother Hubbard's cupboard is looking mighty bare when it comes to the ults. You've got Feels Bad with Angry Monkey, and that's about it. So you're going to have to play big because you've got... Here's what Diaper should be doing. He should be just laying up an ambush and just barrage them. Because anybody you push out of the fight at this point is kind of out.
Absolutely, and I mean, again, we're in Hollywood. You have to wonder if the credits are about to start to roll because, right, Diaper's gone. That res is either going to have to happen or they, I mean, this is 5v6.
And res is
the
off.
Res is up. Feels Badman's got to get in there and create some chaos.
30 seconds.
Down to the last 30. Both Valks are out.
They're 2-2. Back into organized chaos fighting on the point. It does look like TCP wants to stay on there, but...
And we've got Swag holding it down with 100 health.
With
there
the
you go.
hammer down as
with
well.
the hammer down.
They couldn't deal with the Rhine on point.
All right, so TCP advances 3 maps to 1.
And out of all the Widow plays, it goes to Grimy on the just popping the ult right in front of him. Man, and what a match that was.
Yeah, that was a great match. I mean, it started off with a little bit. We'll do a little recap here. And, you know, we started out on Rialto. TCP pretty much dominated. Switched over to Anubis. Rinse and repeat. Largely on Grimy, doing great hit scan work on Widow. Then we go over to Ilios, and the fire is lit. Yeah, it totally changes up. Prodigy comes out with a different composition, more dive composition, focuses Grimy, was able to really kind of get into TCP's backline a lot more successfully and create some good opportunities and walk away with not only a win, but a convincing win. You know, they took Helios.
Oh, yeah, there were no questions. And I mean, it makes me wonder, like, it's one of those things where if this drug out much longer, how would 2-3 more maps look?
Right.
But I would say if I had to take away one thing that is just team oriented, the ult control from TCP was phenomenal. Like, when they went into fights with their ults, you would only see 1 or 2 of them pop. Very rarely did you see the entire team just blow ults to stop.
Right. And that to probably the biggest takeaway for Prodigy. You know, just the little tighter control in the ult management would be a little thing there. Hollywood, you know, TCP was able to open up, pushed it all to 3 points. First point for them was very, very successful, and then Prodigy really stiffened up and made points 2 and 3 a lot more difficult. Yes, TCP got it, but with 53 seconds on the clock, that's you're kind of thankful you got there with that amount of time. You're thankful that you're not in overtime. You're happy you got it there, but 53 seconds isn't exactly, nobody's going to hang that on the trophy wall. So they switch around and Prodigy comes in guns blazing, first point, very successful. Able to you're running a comp that, even though it's susceptible to the Pharaoh, running against Diaper on Pharaoh was able to be very productive in taking that first point. But then they get into the second stage.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at Rialto, where TCP had 5 minutes left, and then you look at Hollywood, where they're squeaking it in there, like, that's a huge difference. The amount of the engagements and how they were all set up. Like, Prodigy really did step up from what they originally were. So, I mean, I think their on-the-fly mechanics were pretty spot on.
Yeah, I almost get the feeling that just their map, the maps did not go. A different set of maps
might have went completely, and it might have. I mean,
yeah.
it was definitely a widow day for sure.
Right, and I think that put Prodigy in a hole that was just a little too deep to dig out of. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen, the overranked community. Again, Prodigy versus TCP. TCP coming out on top, 3-1. I'm your producer host tonight, Cajun Wise Guy on Lind from another community. And Avalex here is my partner in crime here tonight. Any parting thoughts there, Mr. Avalex?
No, look forward to more games. I'd really like to see where Prodigy and TCP go future seasons, this season. And I guess always until next time, guys.
All right. Good evening. Bonsoir.
Man, I need those things.